Ninja-themed movies have been a long-standing part of the cinematic world and have evolved continuously. While some of these movies gain massive audiences and wide releases, leaving a mark on the audience, other times they fail to live up to their reputation, and the audience has to discover them. Some low-budget movies tried to do justice to this format and gained a cult following over the years. Let's take a look at some of the ninja movies you might not have seen or probably forgotten about. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Enter the Ninja, 1981. Franco Nero's Cole finishes his ninja test in Japan and plans to use it to maintain his peace. He decides to visit a war buddy in the Philippines. Trouble won't stay away from Cole's path since the Mafia has other plans for him. As they continue to disturb his friend, Cole decides to thwart the plans of the Mafia using his martial arts skills and almost succeeds. The Mafia decides to hit back with their hired ninja, Hasegawa, and it turns out Hasegawa and Cole have a history. This movie would trigger its trilogy with the follow-ups Revenge of the Ninja, 1983, and Ninja 3, The Domination, 1984. This movie was the first to launch a long trend of ninja-themed films in America, and most followed a similar story. Franco Nero delivers a much more vocal performance than his Django persona. Even though the story can be cheesy when it attempts to build without action, it still manages to keep things together for a fun watch. The trilogy overemphasized the cheesy bits, which took the franchise down with each new film. With a title inspired by Bruce Lee's masterpiece, Enter the Dragon, the movie did manage to get into the cult film Stag. Azumi, 2003. Azumi was the perfect manga to bring to life in a world where Quentin Tarantino has introduced us to Kill Bill and its crazy range of characters inspired by manga works. Like some of the best ninja movies, we see a crazy story unfold in feudal Japan. A group of orphans is trained by a master swordsman and made into a league of child assassins. When a warlord releases a fearsome killer to kill these young assassins, Azumi and the other orphans fight for their survival. A final battle unfolds between the ruthless child assassin, Azumi, and the bloodlust-filled Bijumaru. Director Ryuhei Kitamura has always been successful in depicting these narratives and, at the same time, bringing these brutal stories to the screen. This movie's raw, visceral vibe gives much space to the dramatic parts to keep a perfect balance. There was a lot of praise for keeping the violent and gory scenes authentic to the manga. One of the most extraordinary things about the movie is that the actors' performances make it memorable. This movie is part of many other crazy movies showing brutality from the perspective of teenagers, and it is one of the best examples of that genre. Izo, 2004. Izo is a retribution tale that director Takashi Miike has dealt with quite well over the years in his filmmaking journey. Okada Izo, a well-known samurai, gets tortured and then slain on a crucifix. But Izo's soul hasn't died yet, and it seems that he will not break till his vengeful quest for revenge is quenched by him. He comes back to life and slays every life that comes to his path, whether it's retribution or pure murder. Takashi Miike brings all the elements of pure cinema together to tell this non-linear story set in the Edo period. This movie marks a crazy achievement for Japanese cinema, as it features a collaboration between Takashi Miike and Takeshi Kitano. The latter appears in a small role. We witness the base being laid down for all the further madness that Miike will explore in the samurai cinema shortly. Often, the camera uses a much more direct tone to convey the brutality of the fight sequences that stick to any particular style. While not the best work from Miike, it is an essential watch in the genre. Specific sequences in the movie give you some of the most brilliant cinematic moments as you get lost in the details of the scene setting. Ninja, The Final Duel, 1986. Ninja, The Final Duel is another of Robert Tai's mad creations that will stay in your head once you watch it. Tai is known for playing with the concept of Shaolin Temple in a much more brutal format instead of keeping the tone light. A group of Japanese ninjas tried to take over China, but failed when the Shaolin monks decided to fight back. Disrespect like this led to the group leader committing seppuku, and his brother vowed to destroy the Shaolin Temple. Now it seems the Japanese monk Wang Chi-chung, who has gone to study at the temple, might have to battle this army of ninjas. While many ninja films were made during this period and had a similar tone, this movie sticks out with its mad concept and shows some of the most bizarre and confusing cinematic moments. It features some of the most colorful characters, such as the Black Monk of Congo, flying ninja water spiders, and even foreigners being mocked. While one might want to visit the first part to understand the feature correctly, the movie ensures you a solo ride in the genre won't be much wrong either. Ninja: The Final Duel might be among the craziest films made out of this genre, but it surely doesn't stop before making sure that the audience has something to take away from its viewing experience. Five Elements Ninjas, 1982. The Shaw brothers are the most critical people when talking about this genre because of their history of all the movies that introduced the theme to the West. Chang Tianchi ensured that this take on the genre didn't go unnoticed by the fans. As a group of ninjas murders one of the finest Chinese kung fu students during a competition, one of the students must rebuild the school and take revenge for the death of his friend. Five Elements Ninjas proves to be one of those Shaw brothers movies that don't end up being preachy, but take a more super-heroic tone at times. The movie is riddled with plot holes, and some of the scenes fail the test of time, looking fake. Fast-pacing the fight sequences and often giving the characters the costumes might bring back many memories of the Power Rangers shows. While it might not be the best of Chang Tianchi's works, it is one of the most fun watches, with some cheesy moments that make it even more memorable apart from the action. Often, the bright red blood in the movie might make one wonder if the actors are injured or not in the film, but then it brings a tone of reality even though it looks hilarious. Ninja 3: The Domination, 1984. The third film in the Ninja trilogy, which began with the title Enter the Ninja. Ninja 3: The Domination manages to pull off one for the genre given its tiny budget. In this horror, samurai, revenge thriller, we see an aerobics instructor possessed by a fallen ninja warrior. The spirit uses her body as a vessel to avenge his death by killing those involved in his murder. As the girl tries to get rid of the spirit, she finds out that only a ninja can get this spirit out of her, and thus she seeks help from another ninja. And this hired ninja seems to have some history with the ninja whose spirit has taken over the girl. Yes, it sounds like Exorcist met ninja films and brought this low-budget epic that makes for a crazy watch. The movie managed to get a cult following because of the crazy amount of horror movies coming out of the West simultaneously when this movie came out. But one of the most incredible things about the feature is that it was one of the first times a female actor represented the role of the titular character in the movie. Lucinda Dickey knew how to give this performance and made it one of the most memorable ventures into the genre for the fans. Ninja Assassin, 2009. There was a lot of hype surrounding this feature, considering that the Wachowskis were set to direct it, but they only took the producer roles. And now we have a movie amongst the martial arts gems that fans get to explore occasionally. Ninja Assassin sees the titular character, Raizo, turn his back on the orphanage that raised him, but this is for no ordinary reason, as now he must battle Lord Azunu, who is responsible for the murder of his lover. Rain plays the titular character with a lot of fierceness, and gives us a character that will stick around in the list of fantastic ninja characters. The movie tries to keep the character's past life going smoothly while paralleling his modern-day struggles. It makes for an exciting action film when we witness the intricacy with which the character uses his weapons, and the fight sequence in the rain feels like it has come right out of a graphic novel. Often, the gore might be too much compared to most of the Western productions of the genre, but it sticks to the film's tone and thus manages to live up to the fans' expectations. While the plot might not be engaging, the crazy fight and fantastic training sequences might make it a must-watch to see how this genre has evolved. The Hunted, 1995. Christopher Lambert was one of the top names for action heroes in the 1990s, with each franchise trying to grab him for a lead role. While some of the movies he made would stick around with fans, others would not stand the test of time. Lambert's Paul Racine falls amid a ninja assassin conspiracy in The Hunted, earning their wrath. It seems that Paul has to take part in this world of killing and revenge to clear his name, and walk away before the group of assassins kills him. But Racine is not alone, as someone might train him to protect himself from these ninjas. While it might not be the most popular Christopher Lambert movie from the 90s, this is one of the good ones he managed to do amongst the others. The basic plot is something fans must have seen being used multiple times over the years, with the protagonist having a fish out of the water experience, and then the training montage to fight his newfound enemies. But around that time, these were the very first movies that explored this concept as a means of associating big names with ninja projects. While the movie gives us some of the coolest looking sword fights, it doesn't get to explore gore the way this genre could have and has in past films. Say what you want, Christopher Lambert doing a ninja movie is all we needed from the 90s, and this movie achieves that. Ninja, Shadow of a Tear, 2013. Scott Adkins is known for his skillful martial arts skills, which have allowed him to explore a variety of roles in the genre over the years. Ninja, Shadow of a Tear might be one of the best films, with Scott Adkins and Isaac Florentine collaborating. A martial arts master, played by Adkins, might have to change his peaceful ways when things go awry. When his pregnant wife is killed, he teams up with an old friend to train to master his skills and face an enemy worse than anyone he has come across before. The people involved in making this project are some of the most brilliant in exploring the fight sequences and the stunts. This only benefits the movie regarding its fantastic fight sequences, making it an absolute must-watch for someone who wants to see the detail with which a film in this genre could be executed. The martial arts style is explored and unique, becoming a significant part of the plot, and fans can see that the devil is indeed in the details. Scott Adkins' Ninja series of movies revolutionized the idea of low-budget films that excel in delivering the story with fight sequences that have an authentic tone. Nine Deaths of the Ninja, 1985. Nine Deaths of the Ninja was a follow-up to the success of the Ninja franchise under the Canon Film Group, and surely did stick to the campy tone of the others. Based in the Philippines, a gang of terrorists takes a bus filled with American schoolchildren hostage to get their demands heard by the government. Their demand includes the release of their friend from prison. The government decides to send in two of their best anti-terrorist squad agents to free the kids and fight the terrorists, with Sho Kosugi as the protagonist. The movie managed to rub it in our faces that they had one of the essential ninja actors in their hands. This movie features in the guilty pleasure league of films that fans of this genre love to keep. Even though the plot is kept very simple, the primary focus becomes the fight sequences and the idea that the ninja will come to the rescue. One might wonder if the movie is a serious addition to the genre, and it makes sense since the story mocks the past few films that have appeared in the genre. The ninja film allows viewers to get an idea of how much the Western interpretations of this genre were ready to go crazy and unleash the madness. The Kenoi Ninja Girl, 2011. Another one of the films in the genre that gives a female protagonist and does proper justice to her character to make the story compelling. A history film, The Kenoi Ninja Girl sees one female ninja attempting to free a group of women being used as toys by the men in power. Seiji Chiba is known for taking ninja narratives to some of the craziest levels with movies like Alien vs. Ninja and others. Still, he maintains a tone that feels more real than in his other ventures. Keeping a soft tone helps the film's story, which suffices with maintaining a normal tone in a crazy action piece. It doesn't matter if the film's plot is fundamental, unless it features some crazy action sequences that make you forget about the plot. Surprisingly, Rina Takada, the film's main star, has quite a small screen time, with all the other crazy aspects taking over in the film. This movie introduces us to the concept of Kenoi, female ninjas who are molded from a very young age into the ultimate expression of death. Historically, they used their gender as an advantage to defeat the enemy, but elements like these were left out in this movie, which only managed to give us some good action sequences at the end of the day. Red Sun Rising, 1994. Red Sun Rising might be the only entry on this list that explores the Yakuza and comes close to a Takeshi Kitano venture. Don Wilson's Thomas Hoshino is a cop in Kyoto who gets bullied for his half-American heritage, but still gets praised for getting his job done. During one of his stakeouts, he gets into serious trouble with his partner when the mob bosses and assassins show up, wreaking havoc. As Thomas goes to face them, the enemy defeats him, and then his partner comes to his rescue, only to be killed. But Thomas won't sit back as he hunts down the craziest killer for the Yakuza. Don Wilson was a new addition to this genre, proving his worth with how he took on one of the roles, and the crazy action surrounding it. This film might be the only one that gives us an idea of the star power of Don Wilson and a show as fittingly named The Dragon. The movie's East meets West story will be utilized a billion times in this genre, giving us treats like Rush Hour and whatnot. Frequently, fans can feel this movie's attempt is imaginative, but then decide to stick to the action sequences, which helps the film. Production houses would rake in on the success of this movie and try to make this story mainstream by attaching a much more popular star along with some much needed changes to the plot. But if someone asks you who Don Wilson is, this movie can be your answer. The Grandmaster, 2013. It is unbelievable to imagine that we are bringing Wong Kar-wai to this list of ninja movies, primarily consisting of features with a cult following. But that makes sense, considering The Grandmaster is one of the lesser-known works of Wong Kar-wai, and that becomes very apparent from the very tone that this movie carries, compared to some of his other works. Based on this golden age of Chinese martial arts, we get to witness Ip Man tell us about his journey before we jump into the action sequences. Even though this movie didn't get much popularity in Western circles compared to Wong Kar-wai's other works, it depicts how he managed to bring his one type of cinema to the genre. There have been a lot of movies based on Ip Man over the years, and each brings their own element to the story of the martial arts legend, but this movie takes an exciting aspect to bring the character to the screen. Well, there are some beautiful action sequences, as Ip Man could be seen fighting in the rain. At the same time, we get a take on his life away from all the action, as he mainly narrates the movie. The tone with which Wong Kar-wai delivers all the action gives it the vibe of an art house project and sets it apart from all other works that deal with Ip Man. Dragon Tiger Gate, 2006. Donnie Yen is finally making his entry to this list, along with one of his best projects that helped him establish himself as the action legend he has become. The movie is about two people who started the Dragon Tiger Gate Academy to train others to fight back against the Triad using martial arts. But things go differently when Tiger and Dragon Wong go into separate paths due to a fire that kills their mother while they are young. With time, they both went down opposite paths, with Dragon going to the Triad while his uncle cared for Tiger. The time comes when they must unite to defeat Shibumi, the main person behind the Triad. Donnie Yen helmed the title of the fight choreographer for this movie, and that's all that one needs to know as proof of the brilliant action piece at every point in the film. Every character fights with a fast-paced action style, with strikes that sometimes come out of nowhere, something that Donnie Yen masters. What can one say about this movie except that it shows Donnie Yen at his peak, even though the plot is something we have seen a billion times before. The action sequences make it a must-watch for the genre. The movie still lives up just because of the innovative way the stunt sequences and the fight scenes were shot. Ninja in the Dragon's Den, 1982. Another prominent ninja actor makes his way onto this list with Ninja in the Dragon's Den, featuring Sanada Hiroyuki. Like some of the previous movies on this list, we witness two different people coming together to fight a common enemy. Two warriors, a Japanese master of ninjutsu and a Chinese master of kung fu, come together after putting aside their differences when they find that the enemy killed their master. This cult classic feature proves to be the perfect addition to bringing Chinese and Japanese filmmaking together. There are various moments where one can observe the Japanese style of cinema while keeping the fast-paced Chinese action sequences along with it. One will agree that this is undoubtedly one of the best ninja movies ever made, and it paved the way for both Conan Lee and Sanada Hiroyuki, the former of whom will continue to appear in more such movies. It is at no point evident that this is a debut feature from the director due to how the amalgamation comes out on screen. Due credit has to be given to his choreography skills, which help put the two leads together and give them individual time to show their different styles. Apart from the opening music, the movie still holds up, makes for a fun watch, and is a representative of how cinema dealt with both ninjutsu and kung fu. Most of these movies are available for audiences to watch on a variety of platforms. Some of them have even been restored for new and old audiences. Based on some of the movies on this list, primarily the 80s ones, it becomes evident that the studios continuously tried to sell the martial arts format to the audience. They just wrapped these heavy fight sequences with some sort of plot and sold it. Often, the formula worked, and it became a genuine cinematic event. Other times, one can focus on the action sequences while the dramatic scenes are reduced, but even that aspect makes them an enjoyable watch, as we get to explore the way in which this theme has evolved in cinema over time. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.